All right, boys. We lost against Real Madrid today in the Clásico. There is a lot of there was a lot of mess today, to say the least. It was very much so not a clean game. Let's get into it a little bit. Despite what I would probably rather do right now, which is cry. Barcelona's season is basically over from now. The league is just too far out of our hands. I think we're still 8 points behind with 6 to go. It's just I don't even want to think about it. It's too much of a run needed for anything realistically to happen. I don't think we played well for a lot of it, but I think there were a lot of things that just didn't go our way. In that first half, all the 50-50s just seemed to go to Real Madrid. They won every second ball, and everything just kind of fell to them. And so it was, sure, we got lucky a little bit. We didn't get lucky, but we won that corner, and corners are always a little bit of a mess for the most part, especially for Barcelona. You could say that pen, too, in the first half was arguably a pen or not. I would say it probably was. Lucas Vasquez it was soft, but it was probably a pen. But you'd think, okay, one soft pen was called, maybe another soft pen would be called. In the second half, we saw that wasn't the case for us. There were other soft pens for us that were not called. But let's get into our player reviews, and we'll get into a little bit of that as we go. So starting from the back, Ter Stegen, I think he was fine today. He didn't really show up incredibly. I think he was fine. He made that one save on Vinny's breakaway there, but it was more of a bad shot by Vinny than anything else. I wouldn't say he was particularly spectacular by any means. So moving quickly along to the back line here, Koundé was solid. I'm gonna say solid. I would also blame him for that last goal. He was covering center back position on the breakaway there, and then he didn't shift over quick enough. I guess he just wasn't thinking about someone being there, and so he wasn't there to save that. And so I'm probably going to put that on him, but I think he still had a decent game overall. He still stopped Vinny a few times, and I think he was unfortunate. I don't think he was unfortunate to get a yellow. I think he probably deserved it. I think he was unfortunate that Vinny didn't also get a yellow, so it looks like all his fault for that little encounter they had, that they got in a little tussle, you could say. And I think if Koundé gets a yellow there, Vinny should as well. But that was a pretty good theme for this entire match, where Madrid players were making fouls or doing things they just weren't getting cards for. Rudiger, as always, he was just talking to everybody the whole game and being just like a bully. And the fact that Koundé got a foul, a card for when he did that, and Rudiger didn't, is a little whatever. Araujo, I think he was solid as well. No glaring mistakes, nothing perfect, but whatever. We move. Kubarsi, obviously he made the pen. He caused the pen on Lucas Vasquez. And so I'm not exactly proud of him today. He played some good balls though. Was good in possession, and again, okay. Again, I'm not super upset with any of the three of them. Most of my blame on this back line goes to Cancelo. I think Cancelo had a shocker. My chat from the beginning was basically calling for Fort to come in for him, just because he was so bad defensively. And I understood that. He was very poor defensively today, constantly getting beat by not their best players. It wasn't like he was up against Dembele. He was up against Lucas Vasquez and, Fede Valverde, because Rodrigo inverts a lot of the time. Most of the time he's inside, so he really wasn't up against him, and maybe Bellingham once in a while. So Cancelo was very much so poor defensively. Again, he was okay a few times today, but glaringly overshadowed by the severe amount of times of how poor he was. So some people put in chat whether we should keep him or not. I still think he offers a lot going forward, but he's just been so bad defensively that you really start to question whether you want to spend 30 million on him, especially when you have a lot of fullback options. We have Alex. Okay, I'm not going to get into that. We're going to get into the midfield right now. From the start, they were okay. Again, we were played through incredibly easy. There was very little energy in this press. Xavi did address this in the second half. We'll get into that in a moment. But Frankie was okay throughout this match, the first half, and then he got injured. I don't think he was spectacular. I think he covered off some passing lanes okay, but he wasn't great at his press. He was always seemingly like a step behind, being right on the back of these players. And I think in this situation, we needed that. We needed a little bit more pressure. Otherwise, it's useless, the pressure that they're putting on. And then he got that bad injury. As of now, I don't know what that was or what happened. In the moment, it looked like he probably tore a ligament or something in his ankle, just the way the ball bounced off of him and how much pain he was in. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. It's just a guess. So, we'll see. We'll hear reports of that going into this week. And so, besides him, Gundo and Christensen, again, were okay. I don't think Gundo was spectacular today, but going to the second half, he did play further back, and he's never been he's been okay there, but he hasn't been spectacular there this entire season. Again, kind of fine. Same goes for Christensen. He was pretty solid defensively. He made one really good tackle from behind. I think that was on Vinny. It was on Vinny or Jude or Rodrigo, one of the three. And so that was pretty game saving in the beginning. Then he went off. Xavi brought on Fermin, and I think I was intentionally shocked by that. And I think it had something to do with wanting to bring in a little bit more energy for the press, put a little bit more pressure on them, make it harder for them to pass the ball around us. And I think it did, but it wasn't great. That our press is just not great right now. Whether we have Fermin Lopez in there or not, but it did improve when Fermin came on. He made some good interceptions and some good tackles, and I think Fermin was good. Obviously, he scored that goal. He was in the right place at the right time. I think Fermin was really good linking up with Lamine Yamal as well. They have a ton of chemistry on that side, and the two of them looked good playing together today, and that was a good bright spot. And that moves us to the front line. And I'll mention Pedri. I think he was good. Wasn't really bad defensively. There were some question marks, like on Vinny's breakaway. I think he should have charged that ball a little bit better, gotten to it before it bounced, because obviously when if it gets above you, Vinny's going to beat you behind. So you can't risk that. You have to attack that ball on the bounce. But he didn't. It got behind him. Thankfully, they didn't score from that. But again, it wasn't a great game from him. He wasn't creatively wonderful, as he has been in other games. He was fine creatively, but he wasn't great defensively. And so, we can ask questions about that. Now, moving on to the right, Lamine, I thought he was really good. He was, up until Joao Felix came on and Cancelo started putting it together at the end of the game offensively, he was our only outlet going forward this entire match. There was so much with him that we can question. I think glaringly to me is the penalty call. I think I'm not sure if it was Camavinga. Somebody clips the back of his leg, and I'm pretty sure it was Camavinga. Camavinga clips the back of Lamine's leg, and he goes down. I think he was going to lose the ball anyway, and it's soft, but there is contact in the box that makes the player not be able to attack the ball. I think that's probably a penalty. Also a lot of this pressure. I'm not sure if there was a foul. There was an instance where Lamine was going forward and he was taken down from behind by Modric in the second half. That got Modric a yellow card, but he should have gotten a yellow card for a foul on Rafinha earlier today, but he didn't. And the fact that he didn't get that allowed him to still foul Lamine later, which was a pretty good opportunity for us. So I think the ref was just not good today. I don't think he was terrible, but I don't think he was great. And I think he made some mistakes. He should have given out more yellow cards to Madrid than he did. And I think that allowed them to make saves at the end of that match that could have changed the game. Also, not having goal line technology in La Liga is ridiculous. The fact that wasn't checked quickly, because we've seen it work very well in every league for Lamine's goal on that corner, was crazy. That was so close, and it also shouldn't have taken like 2 minutes to figure out. It was just a long waste of time for nothing. So I really think they need to introduce some goal line tech, because that was crazy. But now we move to Lewandowski, who wasn't good. I don't think Lewandowski was good linking up today. His press wasn't fantastic. He wasn't very good on the ball. I don't think it wasn't a good game for him. He also got really no opportunities in the box. Lamine struggled to get the ball to him. Lamine did create some opportunities for himself, but that was pretty much the extent of all of our opportunities, was him getting in behind and going down or something happening. But Lewandowski didn't miss crazy chances, but he also didn't help create too many. And so I think Xavi probably could have made a sub for him earlier, but I'm okay with him bringing on Ferran Torres and Joao Felix who I'm going to quickly go on Rafinha. I don't think Rafinha was good today. I was very much so not impressed with him. He's not good out wide, and I think that's where he was kind of playing in the first half. We saw him go a little bit more centrally in the second, and he was a little bit better with Cancelo overlapping, but he just wasn't very effective. When Felix came in, they were much, much more effective, but still not great. I think Felix was good today, and he had some neat opportunities, but again, not fantastic. I don't know. Ferran Torres as well. I think he was okay, not fantastic. Obviously, he missed that great chance on that breakaway. Camavinga was putting a lot of pressure on his back, but you gotta either initiate contact with Camavinga because he's on a yellow card. So if he touches you and you go down, that's a red. He's going off, and you might have a pen. So there's more pressure on Camavinga in that situation than on him, and so he's got to put that on net at least. Something better than what's happening. It's got to be better than that. I don't think a lot of my chat is kind of going crazy right now about it being on Xavi or not being on Xavi, and they're kind of fighting about it. These are the tactics Xavi has played for a long time. And so I don't know. I'm not holding this whole thing against Xavi. I think this is just a little bit of a failure from this team to really connect well. Lewandowski specifically, I think if he were on, or he were able to find space, or Ter Stegen were able to pick him out a little bit easier, this game could have been differently. Could have gone differently, but it didn't. If the ref was a different ref and we got maybe a little bit more lenient with the fouls, this game could have gone differently as well. I think that's a lot of things could have fallen our way that didn't, and Madrid played okay. They played solidly. Vinny was good today, and I think he was really their only outlet. When he came off, you saw Fran Lopez and Brahim Diaz kind of struggling to figure it out. They put it together for that last goal, but I don't know. I think Barca had an opportunity today to prove to not just Barca fans but the world that they are good, that they can compete with the best teams in the world. And Man City just beat Real Madrid just beat Manchester City, and we could have walked in today and beat Real Madrid, and that would have been a statement, or it could have been, but I think. They didn't do that today, and obviously we lost. The season is more or less over. There's not a lot to look forward to, but I'm not impressed by the side right now, and I would like to see more from them in the future. I think this gives us an opportunity to kind of rotate our team and see maybe more Vitor Roque, more Hector Fort, more Fermin Lopez, and play less Koundé because he's played a ton of football. I think he has the most minutes for the team. It's between him and Gundogan, but bench Lamine Yamal as well. These guys need a break, especially Lamine and Kubarsi as well. Give Mika Faye some time. There are a lot of promising players that deserve minutes, and now we have 6 games at the end of the La Liga to figure that out. I hope Xavi does that, and he concedes that we're losing the league and just lets these players play some football, put things together, build maybe some momentum going into next season. Because his responsibility is not to prove anything, to make a run until the last game. I'm not asking. I'd rather this team, tie 2 of their next 6 games and win only 4 of them, or even win 1, tie 1, win 4, just so some of these guys can get minutes, because they do. They haven't gotten minutes this season, and they need it, to start putting some form together. Things will come. Better things will come. There are still things to be proud of this season. I'm going to make a video coming out this week on the main